What's up, y'all? I've got some really cool buffs for Salazzle. As always, the totem-sized form has more HP and is a bit different and has one different ability from the base form. But the downside is you have to wait until later, and also the ability isn't objectively better. In fact, me personally, if I get Salanded, I'm using the base form because Merciless plus T-Spikes slash any other poisoning move plus Blast Burn, which is essentially what Overheat used to do. Overheat is now a recoil move. Speaking of move changes, by the way, if you're new here and you just click on this video because you like Salazzle or just because you thought the thumbnail was cool, whatever it is, make sure you check out that description. There is a link to the very same Google Sheet that I'm sharing on screen right now, and as you can see on screen, there's tons of new moves, 130 plus custom new ones, and I have buffed and changed 600 moves in this hack. Basically every move, right, has been changed in some regard, and those are really important to understand how the Pokemon function now, so you should definitely give those a look in the description. It took me a lot of time to make that move sheet, several months alone just for that. So yeah, please don't let that work go to waste. Definitely give that move sheet a look. But yeah, Salandit, Salazzle, all of them have really cool options that they can use. Salandit is now 100% female. I understand that that's weird, like lore-wise, because male Salandit exists, but it's more of just a quality of life thing. If that bothers you, I doubt this ROM hack is going to appeal to your taste anyways. It's just like an optimization thing, because who the hell wants to farm for a female Salandit? You know, male Salandit, yeah, he has Prankster, and like he can maybe live a hit with the Violate, but it's not. It's never going to be worth it. You're going to want Salazzle almost always. So yeah, speaking of, Salandit has Prankster, so that's good for most of Akala Island. Very good for totems, especially. You have Prankster Parting Shot and poisoning moves and Encore and Torment and all this other fun stuff. You know, Glare, which paralyzes and drops attack and special attack. You know, Toxic Prankster, all types of good Prankster moves that you can have used on Salandit. Very cool, and it's also fast and strong. And then Salazzle, all of them have the ability Dry Skin. You might think that's a weird choice, but especially because I am normally pretty pedantic with the logic of Dry Skin, but I think it's cool, and I think it's a cool ability option over the main offensive abilities. You can just swap on Dry Skin. Obviously, you wouldn't run that if you have Sun. You can just swap to Merciless or Hubris. Hubris is Special Moxie, by the way, if you are new here. Again, that Google Sheet will show you all of the new abilities and what they do. So I do recommend you give that a look if you don't know what that does by now. And if it's Salazzle's vibe very well, same with Merciless. I did swap out Corrosion for Merciless because Corrosion is dog shit on Salazzle, especially in game. In competitive, you can make an argument like, oh yeah, well, you know, sub Toxic versus like Poison and Steel is not useless, and you're right, it's not useless, but this is not 6v6 singles. This is in game. Corrosion is so situational to the point where it's just bad, and sadly I don't have the coding abilities in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to change it. Otherwise I would make poison moves super effective on Steel, and then I would give it to more Pokemon. As of right now, the only Corrosion Pokemon in the game is Swalot, who is incredibly bulky and super awesome, and you should check out that video, and also, honestly, just probably easier to look at them on the Google Sheet. Yeah, Swalot's an absolute unit, and it's actually good on Swalot since they don't have that Fire Stab right there, and because Poison types especially are almost immortal with that double Black Sludge. Black Sludge heals by double HP now, so having the ability to Poison, Steel, and Poison types on Swalot as an option. Obviously, your main ability is Metabolism, but then you switch to Corrosion when you see that it's useful. It's nice to have that as an option, but in Salazzle's case, Merciless is so much cooler, and it fits really well. It's kind of weird. Like, I don't know why they didn't give it this in the first place. It's so fitting for Salazzle's, you know, whole vibe of just, I mean, I don't think I even need to explain why it fits. Dry Skin, though, like I said, it is a Salamander. It's this amphibian type Pokemon, and I just think it's useful and cool. You can technically even use it in Rain with Weather Wall or Scald. For certain boss fights, you know, that wouldn't be bad with like substitute Black Sludge in the Rain. You'll be getting a shitload of HP per turn. The totem-sized form actually has a very good HP stat, and they all have solid special defense, so you can totally run a bulkier Salazzle with Dry Skin in the Rain with Black Sludge, especially on Totem Salazzle. Hubris is really great. Special Moxie's awesome. I don't need to explain why that's good, but I think Merciless is way more fun because of the Blast Burn dropping the special attack, and because of Venom Shock being 70 base power, and because T-Spikes is a TM, so you only have to switch on T-Spikes for certain boss fights. If you see that the opponent doesn't have, you know, a levitating Pokemon or a Pokemon that's immune to T-Spikes that'll absorb it, you can slap on T-Spikes, get one layer up. You can also do it on your other Pokemon. You don't even have to do it on Salazzle itself. You can just get up T-Spikes and then Parting Shot into your Salazzle. And then you can spam Venoshock, and then late game for Aether Foundation and Pony Island, and the end game you'll have Blast Burn in conjunction with Venoshock, which should melt everything. That's a very, very good dual stab combination with Poison and Fire, with 140 base power Venoshock and 150 base power Blast Burn that always crits. It's really strong, coming off a 121 special attack. Very, very fun. That's why I would prefer Merciless. It's just more fun. I don't like sweeping. Not to mention sweeping in general is difficult, although Totem Salazzle does have the HP stat and bug resistance, so first impression won't stop it from sweeping right away, but there will be other anti-setup, things put in place as well besides first impression. They still get Nasty Plot, which is useful again to sweep for certain fights. Lots of great utility moves, like I said earlier. Like Pardon Shot Encore, Toxic, Glare, Fake Tears for totems, Scary Face for totems. Disable. All types of really useful stuff that you can switch to. Will-O-Wisp, it's really got a lot of cool options. Acid Reflux, the list just keeps going on and on. Belch is super fun. Belch, if you consume a berry for the rest of that fight, even if you switch out, you'll be able to use Belch, and Belch is now going to give you a +1 special attack boost. So that's super fun. So you can use, like, for example, Endure Pataya Berry or Endure Salac Berry with Belch, and you get +1 special attack, and you'll get +1 speed from a Salac Berry, and Endure is a GM, so there you go, boom. That's a really cool set you can run for certain fights. Burn Up is really useful, especially for totems like Totem Mimikyu. Burn Up will always burn the opponent, and that's 140 base power, and then all you have to do is just Parting Shot or U-turn out, and then switch it back in, and you can use Burn Up again. Or you can just, enjoy the fact that you're a pure poison type, which could be useful for certain fights. You can also use Burn Up with Dry Skin. Maybe if you want that, I don't know. It's got a lot of options. It's fun to use. Scald is a good little coverage option I gave because there are certain fire types that learn Scald in the real games like Ember and Centiskorch. So I figured, Salazzle, it's this like dry skin amphibian salamander guy. I think they can use Scald. Same reason I gave it to like Eat More. I just think it's a cool little coverage option for them. And then they have Scorching Sands. Late game they'll have Focus Blast, but they don't have the best coverage. It's just good enough. You got Shadow Ball, Dark Pulse, Scorching Sands, Scald, and then Dual Stab, of course. And then you also always have that Nature Power and Natural Gift option. Nature Power will become any type, or not any type, but it'll become Electric under Electric Terrain, Psychic under Psychic Terrain, and so on. Energy Ball, under Grassy Terrain. So if you have a terrain setting ally, that can be a good option to teach via TM. And then Natural Gift is a single-use move, special move that becomes any type in the game, 110 base power. Of course, you have to use a berry. So, for example, Yachi Berry Natural Gift is a 110 base power ice move, single use. Pretty cool little tech for certain fights. You can use that to hit specific Pokemon, especially if you're trying to sweep with like a Hubris Salazzle. That's a good option for sure. It's got all types of fun things. Other utility like Clear Smog, Aromatic Mist drops special defense and special attack by 2. That's a really cool option for totems, especially, and just in general. Acid Spray, also good for totems. I would say Acid Spray is not that good on Salazzle since it's not that bulky, but you can still use it, especially on like a sub-Black Sludge set. Substitute Black Sludge in general is pretty crazy on any poison type, especially a fast one like this. I think I've covered pretty much everything. You've got Overheat, very strong, reliable, spammable stab move that deals recoil. Fire Vortex, very strong, but it's inaccurate. And on a frail Pokemon like this, I would never want to risk that mischance, especially, at least base Salazzle is frail, especially on the physical side. I would not want to risk that mischance, especially in a Nuzlocke, which is kind of what this hack has balanced around. Not super optimal to risk that chance to miss. Same with Sludge Wave, 110 base power versus a Sludge Bomb's 95. Drop speed versus having the chance to poison, but I would run Sludge Bomb personally. I'm not risking that Sludge Wave miss unless you need the power. Same with Fire Blast versus, Pyro Plume or something, for example, or Flamethrower. Yeah, alright, I'm gonna leave the video off there. Thanks so much for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed this. And as always, you can choose to evolve into Totem Salazzle. The downside is it'll be after How and Olivia, so you will have to wait. You'll have to use Salandit for, if you're playing Team Lock, you'll have to use Salandit. Either you'll have to not add it to your team yet, or you'll have to add it to your team and then use Salandit for Olivia and How and all these other, Plumeria, etc., which is suboptimal. And I think base Salazzle is more fun anyways. Hubris is sick though. I mean, it's very strong, and the HP stat helps a lot with Black Sludge and especially defensive sets. So, yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll be back for more Alola buffs and changes coming up. Peace, y'all.